All right, here we have our new player. It is Ostojiy for its GoSu. He is the blue Zerg down in the bottom right corner. Up in the top left, we have our returning winner, FES. Every time it is Fusion eSports. We couldn't fit Fusion in the scoreboard, so we decided their tag should be FES. Right now, though, every time already showing some great skills against GoSu Ice Cream. Ostojiy is no slouch, though. He is actually the only person to take a game off of Scarlet at WCS Canada.
He, every time showing us he knows how to play. Every time, and it's working out well for him. Took a game off of Scarlet in WCS Canada, but of course then Scarlet came back and ran through the opposition at WCS North America. I mean, congratulations to her. That was a ridiculous accomplishment.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Scarlet every game just chuckling to herself like, this is so easy. Why is everyone so bad?
Lost one map, I think it was, to Theognis right in the very beginning, I believe.
Quantic Theognis in that first set and then didn't lose another game. Pretty ridiculous. 2-0'd Huck, not just at WCS Canada, but also at WCS North America.
Yeah.
Crazy. 4-0 against Huck in the last 4 games.
Yep. Well, she's been playing really well, and now she has to take her talents to the World Championship, and we absolutely wish her the best of luck.
Yep.
So, let's see now. Is EVZ, of course. This is a very large map, as we mentioned before. Not usually one that pops up for mirror matches. Usually one that pops up whenever Protoss or Zerg players think they have an advantage. Both players actually deciding to pool first as well, which is kind of an interesting move. This is a map where you can pull off hatch first, but of course, if you make the wrong decision, it's very long to scout your opponent, then you may be under attack very quickly. Yeah,
no matter how good your macro game is against a Protoss player a Terran player like Ice Cream, you know, ZVZ is just a completely different animal. One Baneling Blast can actually just mean the difference in victory or defeat. So let's see which guy's actually going to have the better control here, Ostojiy or Everytime. Right now, the builds are mirrored, essentially. We have an Overlord instead of a drone, though, for Ostojiy.
Yeah, that's right. So, excuse me, my apologies. Yeah, looks like every time he's deciding to send his Overlords out to the top right position and down at the bottom left, whereas Ostojiy sent his first one up to the top right to try and get a quick scout. But this is a no horizontal spawn version of the map, so every time, of course, wouldn't have been able to find his opponent up there in the top right-hand corner, just didn't know it.
It's okay. I don't blame him.
We'll allow it.
All these maps have their different versions, and you know, actually the most recent patch made publishing maps a little tricky, so basically they're just glad to host the right map at all, no matter what version it is. So you know, not being familiar with every single version of every single map is totally forgivable. Unless you're going into a tournament where you need, I mean, you have to know at a live event which version it is before you play, so that you don't waste any time scouting incorrect positions or anything like that.
That's right. So Ostojiy getting a pretty good scout on his opponent a little bit early on, but he's going to see essentially mirrored builds. I mean, there's been small differences. Ostojiy started his gas a little bit later than Everytime did. But I mean, other than that, things are very, very similar.
Yep. And speaking of ZVZ and speaking of Scarlet, I was just imagining Scarlet training with Nurchio and ZVZ. Like, that's got to be insane. Those have to be some insane practice games.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, but basically, just I mean, that is we always joke for a long time, Acer, the team of Zerg, and stuff like that. But they are stacked with Zerg players.
Right.
I mean, like some of the world's best Zerg players. So I mean, it's not just like, oh yeah, they've got a lot of Zerg players. No, they're really, really good.
TSL is Team Swarm Life.
Yes.
And Acer is just straight up Zerg.
Yes.
4 letters, you know, both for both of those, so that works out.
We always joke that Dark Hydra got on the team. He was like, oh, we got this great Zerg player. No, I'm a Terran.
Oh, no, psych. Psych, I'm a Terran. Actually, we heard a rumor that Dark Hydra might be picking up Zerg.
Yes!
Yeah. Actually, we did hear that from Acer, that Dark Hydra was practicing some Zerg.
I hope so.
Why not, man? You're on a team with such awesome Zerg players already. That's like the perfect opportunity to try it.
You guys will be seeing them, of course, and in the Contender Division, IPTL this year. So
a little bit later on, a few weeks from now.
We'll be able to check out their games here pretty soon. But yeah, so that's a good time to update people as well. What's going to be happening? I think we have one more week of the Amateur Division after this. So we'll get all the way through the round of 8, and that will determine the 4 teams making it into the Contender Division next season. And then afterwards, it'll be all Contender and Premier Division from there on out. We'll be alternating between the 2 divisions as we go throughout the broadcast.
Yeah, so we've just got a lair coming up now for every time. Baneling Nest finishing just now for Ostojiy. We'll see what Ostojiy is actually going to be able to do damage-wise once he gets up there. And right now, still just pretty passive play from both players, just running in with a couple of links here and there so that we can see what's going on. But we have this discussion about patches. Stop it.
Well, it is a quicker layer tech for every time, actually well ahead of his opponents, about 60 seconds up, actually. So, and, you know, we've been saying quite a bit that Mute has been very popular, and so we'll see if that's going to be the case here, but that's what I would expect. We could see quick infestors, but Mutas are just so good lately in ZVZ. It is going to be a quick 3-base. Oh, very nice Baneling hit there. Quick 3-base with a Roach Warren, though, for Ostojiy.
Wow, that was a big one, and Spire is actually coming up for every time now, so if Ostojiy gets in there soon enough, he might be able to do some real damage, but his Roach Warren is not even close to finishing, really only halfway, so I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to be able to really do a ton of damage unless he gets some lucky Baneling strikes.
All right, well, Ostojiy rolling his way up now, and there's already a Baneling waiting for him, though, along with that Spine Crawler, so it's going to be difficult to try and get something done here. Yeah, and in fact, most of his units getting cleaned up, but he almost baited that Baneling into a trap.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, wow, the Baneling's such low health now. A couple of bites from one Zergling would finish it off, but no, he runs into 6 Zerglings and dies to the one Baneling that was already injured. Could have sent just 1 or 2 maybe to be really efficient, but there we go. 3 more dying on that next Baneling every time, losing lings needlessly.
Little bit, and Ostojiy is up by about 18 supply, but of course that's because every time is banking up a ton of gas and resources for this eventual Spire to finish up. Already planning to switch over into the Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber upgrades right afterwards, though. Just wants to be able to establish dominance of the air first.
Yep, look at this. Ostojiy making enough links to actually repel every time back toward that Xel'Naga tower, all the way back into his natural perhaps, but every time is going to post up and probably have a couple of Banelings morph. Yeah, there they are. So once Ostojiy arrives, or if he ever arrives, it looks like he backed off, there would be some Banelings prepared for him, but Infestation Pit is actually just finishing now for Ostojiy. Roach Speed is all on the way. We've got the Spire scouted officially, so Ostojiy is aware of that. We'll see. Yep, there's a Spore Crawler, 3 Spore Crawlers coming up pretty quickly there for Ostojiy as he gets Pathogen Glands researched and a couple of other nice upgrades as well. Okay,
so Ostojiy seems to have a pretty good grasp on what his opponent is doing and is preparing with his with the necessary fungal growth and stuff like that ahead of time. Even has those Spore Crawlers just about to finish up. Now, this is still a fair number of Mutalisks. It was 11, I believe, created? Yeah, in total, so that's still quite a bit of damage output once these all get together, but one Mute actually almost already biting the dust.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage from the Queen and Spore Crawler already, so every time he's going to have to figure out the best possible use for these Mutalisks without actually doing... It's going to be really difficult to do any economic damage at this point because the Spore Crawlers are up so early and the Queens are just so good at defending, so every time might not realize that, you know, Ostojiy is going to be pretty heavily fortified by the time he gets in here. There's a soft spot, though.
Yeah, a little bit of one. Just one Spore Crawler sitting up there as well, but it doesn't look like he has the DPS to take those down quite yet. Almost loses a Mutalisk, who was actually down to 1 hit point there for a while, and then finally blows up.
To the Queen, yep. So he could actually just attack these extractors here long enough to do Glaive Worm bounces and kill other drones, so that's exactly what he's going to do. The Baneling Nest is actually exposed as well. Pathogen Glands are coming up for every time, so he's going to be able to catch up on tech, but 7 Infestors are in production right now for Ostojiy.
Loses another Muta there. He seems to be going back just a little bit too quickly, or a little bit too often, I should say. Thankfully, he gets away before the first Infestor is able to pop up. I mean, a fungal growth on top of that with the 3 Queens there would have been plenty of DPS to kill a lot of Mutas.
That's right. He does escape with those Mutas intact. He's building large amounts of Roaches now, so next time he shows up with those Mutas, he's probably going to try to do some kind of 2-prong attack. If Ostojiy doesn't drive the action, he's got quite a lot of Infestors now and is also making a couple of waves of Roaches. He's also working on +2 ranged attack upgrades.
All right, so a lot of forces coming up for both our players at the moment. First 4 Infestors on the way now for every time. And he still does have that air component, and its effect cannot really be overstated. I mean, it's really, really nice, you know, to have that and be able to just DPS down a couple of the Roaches at the back or something like that if you can catch the Infestors a little bit off guard. Yep,
and Ostojiy is making a ton of Roaches now, so this is going to be a very interesting fight. Obviously, the Mutalisks are going to get some free damage on the Roaches unless they're caught by fungal fungals or those infested Terrans that are sure to show up. A lot of roaches in production actually for Ostojiy, and still infestors coming out now for every time. So normally you see these roach infestor battles, but the mutas are kind of like the wild card in there. They actually are getting thinned out quite a bit now, and I don't think he's going to rebuild anymore.
So it's 29 roaches to just 15 at the moment. Every time a little bit far back. He's down on infestors as well. You mentioned kind of the wild card of the Mutalisk, but like you said, they've been getting picked off slowly but surely. So that's certainly much less of a threat than it was not too long ago. And Ostojiy's thinking about moving his way through the middle of the map. He's going to clean up an Overlord here with a couple of infested Terrans. Kind of a cute touch. And start rolling up. But nice job defending behind a couple of spine crawlers here. But Ostojiy could kind of just go around that if he wanted to.
All right, yeah, we'll see how he actually manages to tackle this. The Mutas and Lings actually getting in now to the main base of Ostojiy, and these drones are basically defenseless now that the Spore Crawler is gone. They already picked off the Queen and that Spore Crawler, so we got the actual big battle happening. It looks like every time lands the first fungals, but he has way more roaches, so we've got infested Swarm Eggs coming out on both sides now. The Roach Concave of Ostojiy still looks very good, but they are very, very low health. These fungals are just brutal on both sides, and it looks like Ostojiy is definitely going to surge ahead here with the superior roach numbers and still all those infestors intact. Mutalisks don't even know what to attack at this point, just attacking randomly while he defends at home.
And they're not going to be enough, unfortunately. I mean, Ostojiy just has way too many forces here, and last couple of infestors going down didn't even have enough energy for anything. There it is, every time GG's, and it's GoSu goes up 4-3.
All right, so